Okay, so we're gonna draw this cell phone holder design here. Um, I'm gonna toggle back and forth between another drawing and this so we can reference it off. So we're gonna start this and let's just get started. I'm gonna create a new drawing. The first thing you wanna do is set up a variable table. Okay, this is where we can put predetermined measurements. This is great when we wanna make adjustments to our design in terms of scale and proportion. So I'm going to go over here before I even start my drawing, the variable table. So over here on the right hand side, it looks like an X in parentheses. If I click this, we're going to be able to add variables. So the name of the variable, we're going to add the material thickness because we're probably going to end up laser cutting this. So I'm going to type in material thickness. It all has to be one word. The variable type going to be a length, and the value will depend on the thickness of the material. Now, the maximum we can go for our design, if we're going to laser cut it, is 5/16. So I type that in. If you're going to be making it by hand, it might be different. You can go up to as thick as you want, essentially. Um, but if you are going to laser cut it, the value will have to be 5/16. Okay. Do not worry about the description here. This is for if you have several different variables. So name, material thickness, variable type length, and the value is 5/16 or 3.13. We're only going to use one variable. Once you have that, just close the variable table by clicking the button here, the X, and we'll close. Great. So the first thing we're going to draw right now, I'm going to toggle back and forth between two drawings here so we can all see. We're going to draw this base piece here. And this is it's a rectangle that's 6 inches long by 3 inches across. So we will start on the top plane, create a sketch. And we can draw the line or a rectangle, however you want to do this. I'm just going to start with the rectangle and dimension it 3 by 6. And I like to move my dimensions out of the way. It's just good practice to get into. So we have our rectangle. It's constrained to the corner, the origin here. If you look at the design, we need to cut out this groove here, or this slot here, so that this other piece can insert in and create a base and a leg for our cell phone or tablet. So that is 1.5 inches from the bottom, and it's 2 inches wide, and then the thickness is 5/16. So we need to start with the rectangle that's 2 inches long by 5/16 tall. So what we need to do is start with the rectangle, center point rectangle, and come back over here and just highlight over the center, drag it up, and just we'll dimension it after. So create that rectangle, hit enter. Now we need to come and create these measurements, right? We know that this is going to be 2 across. So click D for dimension, drag down, it's going to be 2. Now this is where the variables come into play. We need this to be the thickness of the material. Because if we go back to our part studio or our assembly drawing, right, we need this piece to slide in there. So this has to be the thickness of the material itself. And the thickness of the wood that we can use is 5/16. So I'm going to dimension this to be the same as the wood. Now, what we can do is hit hashtag on our keyboard and our variable will come up. So what I can do is click the material thickness, and it knows that will be 0.313. This is great because if we ever change it in our variables for whatever reason, it will automatically change it, right? If I was to change my variable, it would change it here. That's where this comes into play. Okay. So I'll close this. And with the dimension this from here to here, and that is 1.5, right? There's my back piece sketch. Now I need to extrude this. This is where the variables come into play. I'm going to click what I want to extrude, and the depth is going to be hashtag on the variable, its material thickness, and I hit the green check mark after I rename it. This is the back. So now I have my part. I can rename my part back piece. Great. Next thing I want to do here is draw the other piece, right? So we need to draw this piece here, the insert piece, right? We're going to refer to our drawing. We're not going to assemble it yet. We're going to draw these like they're laying flat down next to each other. So we're going to draw side right next to this. So I'm going to create a sketch on the top plane. I'm going to do it right next to it. So what I need to do is I'm just going to draw that rough shape out. So I'm going to go back here to my part studio. Here's the shape. We're going to mirror this. So I'm just going to draw one side of this and then mirror the other side over. Okay, so I have a drawing here. So it's 2 across, 4 tall, and then this seat here is 1.5 inches. So what I need to do is first go back. I'm going to create a line, and I want to create a construction. This is a reference line. So if you go up here in the toolbar, there's a icon for construction or Q on your keyboard. I'm going to click, drag this up, make sure it's vertical, and I'll make this 4 inches. Keyboard's getting stuck right now. Sorry. Now I want to draw the rough outline of the shape here. So I want to hit the line tool. We'll dimension this after, making sure the lines are horizontal, vertical. Great. So we know the base here. If I look at our drawing, our base is going to be 3 inches. So I'll go back to our drawing here, our sketch here. We're just drawing one side of it. So what's half of 3? 1.5. Across is going to be 2. What's half of 2? 1. Starting to get our shape. And then this seat here is, if I go back to the drawing, that is 1.5. So 1.5. 1.5. We'll have our dimensions here for one side, right? We need to mirror this. So I'm going to click the mirror command. And ask you what the mirror line is, right? We want to mirror against this line, this construction line that we drew. So I click this, and then it's going to ask you the entities that you want to be mirrored. I'm going to click each of the lines that I want it to be mirrored. Great. Everything looks good. My mirror is good. Some of my lines are blue, so what I want to do is just define this in space. So I'm just going to click one point and then click the origin. This measurement doesn't matter. I just want to create it so it can't move out in space anymore. It's locked in place. And then you can move the dimensions away, just to clean up that sketch a little bit. Rename my sketch. This is the insert piece. Great, we have our sketch, so now I need to extrude this. And I'm going to click the extrude, click the sketch I want to extrude, and you're going to go to the depth here, and this is where you're going to click hashtag again, click the material thickness, and hit the green check mark. Rename, insert. Great, we have now both our parts. So if you look at my feature tree over here, I have my back sketch, my back extrusion, my insert sketch, my insert extrusion. right? Pretty straightforward. Um, and they're all the thickness of 5/16. Now, where the variable table comes into play and why it's important is if I'm cutting this on the laser and I'm like, oh, I only have a 1/4 inch thick material, I can go to my variable table and change the value. I could change this to be a 1/4 inch, and it changes everything, right? I can maybe my thickness of the wood is 1 inch now, right? It alters everything to work with the constraints that I'm given. So it's a really helpful tool. So that is how we draw our Onshape Part Studio model. The next video will include how to create our drawings for this so we can actually prep these for the laser.